Hi, everybody. This is Laura with Stuff I Find Interesting, and I'm actually on a time crunch today, so I gotta be like quick and cram in like as much interesting stuff as I possibly can in a very short amount of time. So, this is the Christmas edition, or holiday, or Kwanzaa, or Festivus, my personal favorite. Behold the lights. They are just strewn everywhere, which is my decorating style when it comes to the holidays. So, this is completely random, in no order. And, I thought for a long time this week, I was like, I need music and a fade in and a fade out because I was watching the Y Files, and that guy's getting like really good, right? Like his stuff is good, like good, good. And I'm like, nah, that's just not me. I'm just randomly sharing stuff that's interesting. I'm not on that level. So I'm just going to be who I am. So here we have some tarot cards, which is very interesting. This is a French occultist created these, and I know that they inspired Aleister Crowley, who I was talking about last time, which is where I think this link came from because it was like a holdover. But it was very interesting that this deck of tarot cards. If you don't know tarot cards, there are a bunch of cards, and there's 4 different suits. There's wands, cups, pentacles, and swords, and they each sort of have a different energy. And then there's your suits, like Knight of Pentacles, King of Swords, that also correlate to astrology, just for fun, I guess. And then there are what we call major arcana cards. Major arcana cards would be like Death, the Tower, stuff like that. So I'm going to pull out some tarot cards right now. And I don't know if I've mentioned it, but I once spent a summer doing... oh my God, they went fucking everywhere. Oh gosh, that's horrible. Give me a minute. Oh no! Oh man! Good Lord! They went everywhere. Just like everywhere. Look, my cat. Ooh! Alright, I guess I found my card. It's the one that's left over on the floor. This is the card. This is the one. We're not even going to waste time. But this is a cat-themed tarot card deck. Now, swords are associated with action. Wands are associated with beginnings. Cups are like potential, kind of. And then pentacles would be finishing stuff. Let's see what we got. Temperance. I think that's telling me that I should stop drinking. Okay, so moving on to the next interesting thing. I found these maps, and I felt like when I saw them, which was late at night, I felt like I was like flying through space, looking at these maps. Like, let's blow up this one. This one looks pretty cool. First, let me put this card away. Oh, look, it's the card that's on the box, too. It's kind of spooky. The last time I did this, I pulled the death card. And the reason why that episode didn't air was because I just totally spaced out in the middle of it and just was not able to even remotely continue. I don't know what happened. It was like the Windows powering down noise, and that was it. So this will be in the links if you want to check it out. But right now we're going to put on our scuba gear. And I had to look up what scuba means. Scuba means self-contained underwater breathing apparatus. That's what that means. And, okay, we're going to come back to that. So that's when you go underwater, not like a snorkel, which I've done, which I had this experience where I was on this beautiful beach. It was like something out of a movie in Okinawa, Japan, and I'm swimming, and it's just clear blue turquoise water like you see in the movies, and the sand, and I'm snorkeling and I'm swimming and I'm seeing the colorful fish, and then all of a sudden freaking continental shelf drop off stuff, and it was like the terror that I felt in that moment as I scrambled away was quite impressive. So there was thought to be an underwater city in Greece, and this was kind of like all over the news recently, and it turns out that they are microbial mats, much like you see in Australia. So there's like these little microbes, And you have these hydrothermal vents, and the hydrothermal vents feed the microbes, and they build and build and build and build, and then they form these kind of structure thingies, which is kind of cool, right? Now, you can scuba dive amid the ruins of the Las Vegas of the Roman Empire. Now, I don't think I ever want to go scuba diving, but I think maybe I could do this one. Do you ever see that post? It's like there's like this park, and it floods once a year, and the whole park is like underwater. I could scuba dive that. Maybe I could scuba dive this. So we're looking at some pictures, some of this stuff. Just really fascinating glimpse into history. There's so much stuff that's underwater. This week I was looking at Sahul. I think I'm pronouncing that correct. But it was part of Australia. It was actually part of the continent that is now also underwater. But at the same time, there's land that's coming up that's no longer underwater. So it's like this cycle. Anyhow. Duh. Captain Obvious over here. Underwater city reveals mysterious octopus world. So it was thought that octopuses were solitary creatures. But there are locations in the ocean where they group together and they hang out and they like do stuff, and biologists are just so stoked because they can go down there and they can watch the interactions of the octopuses and their behavior. And as you know, octopuses are very complex and display many key indicators of intelligence and self-awareness, like recognizing themselves in the mirror, being able to solve problems, understanding time, I think, is another one. I forget, but there was a test, and they tested like 10 different animals and sort of rated them according to their intelligence, and octopuses were like right up there. So if you don't want to go see octopuses, but remember the water I was talking about, how it was like clear and nice, like it looked like this, the water, just beautiful. So in Borneo, there's a group of people, and they live in these stilt houses, but they spend 60% of the daytime in the sea or on the sea. And it's been that way for centuries. Borneo, it's off the coast of Malaysia, Indonesia, and Philippines. So apparently it's a group of peoples that have populated the area. Their floating homes keep them connected to the sea at all times, though their distance from the mainland also keeps them disconnected from modern civilization. And this guy went there and he hung out with them. So this is kind of a good read. But the other thing that's cool about this, so there's an interesting thing about the interesting thing, is that their spleens are enlarged and perform more efficiently. Now, in case you didn't know, when you hold your breath, paywall. Okay, here we go. So they have spleens 50% larger than normal, and they catch octopus by hand. So I guess that's how I ended up here from the other one when I was just sort of like poking around. Makes sense, right? Okay, so the island of Marajo, which I thought was kind of cool, has their cops ride around on water buffalo. So I guess if they had to chase somebody, they would chase them on water buffalo. But look at that picture. How badass is that? Here's the picture bigger. Just running around on their water buffalo. That's kind of neat. I didn't know you could do that with them. I mean, I guess thinking about it, it makes sense that they could be domesticated. I guess I just never gave it much thought. So now we're going to just talk about one sad thing before we change the subject and switch gears, and that is Kiribati is an island kind of in the middle of nowhere, but it's disappearing because of the rise of the oceans, and it's kind of sad. And these are the kinds of conversation. On a serious note, these are the kinds of conversations that we are going to start to have, right? First, it's going to be people far away, and then at some point it will be us. Maybe not us, but maybe our children. Well, not my children. I don't have children, but children's of the world. But let's change the subject. Let's cleanse our palate. So we were talking about camera obscura, and this is another post that came up just 7 days ago. So this person's lying in bed, and they're like, cool, look at that. and it's through a pinhole in the curtain. You can see on the screen there's like kind of like a little pinhole there, and the light's coming through, and it's reflecting upon on the wall. That's neat. A mysterious lady. I saw this picture this morning and I was like, this lady's so cool. Like, I feel like you could write a novel about her or something, right? There was this other thing that I found, this picture, and it kind of like bugged me out. And this is old Condoresque, which is, holy cow, my mind just went blank. I believe it's Armenia. Yes. Yes. It's nice when the brain works, right? Just look at this. I mean, the photograph lends a certain character to it that probably did not exist if you saw it like in the flesh. But what a lovely picture, right? Just an incredible picture. And if you wanted to read about this, there's an article here that talks about one of the village. I believe there was an earthquake at one point, and just the caves just became unsuitable for modern living. Here we have a person climbing up into their window. Interesting, no? So there you go. And now we have this lady. So this lady would have been during the Gilded Age. They had costume parties, all kinds of parties, and this would have been the costume of a very rich person. Now I learned this week that a woman invented the dishwasher, which I did not know. So there was this woman, and her name was Josephine Cochran, and she just hated doing dishes and just thought that there was a better way. And when her husband died, she was sort of spurred into action, and she had help from one of her employees. I don't know if it was a butler or a mechanic, but somebody helped her out, and she made and patented the very first dishwasher. And she had a fairly long and nice life, other than becoming a widow. I mean, that obviously kind of sucked. But she had a hard time because she was a woman, so she had to kind of like push through that whole thing. This is another picture that I saw that I thought was just sort of caught my attention. It's this guy, Dustmaker. He looks very intense. This is an article that this is where I got hung up last time. This article is where my brain made the window shut down noise. So maybe I'll just leave it here and mention it, and you can read it if you want. But it talks about the Salvation Army and charity. Like, sometimes charities mean well, but they're cloaked in this case, racism. So you can read it. It's very, very, very interesting. What do I have here? Oh, we're already in architecture land. So this is the house of Xavier Corbero, and I found this house, and I was like, I need this house. I mean, maybe not that floor. That wouldn't feel real great on the feet. But that is not a painting. That is his actual house. Crazy, right? Then we have this house. This is a mid-century kind of a deal. One of my best friends, Angela. Hi, Angela. The one that I met at Grand Central Station a couple weeks ago, a month ago. I don't know when the fuck it was. Anyhow, her mom lived in a wonderful mid-century house that had like the sunken living room and the paneling, and there was macrame plants, and it was amazing. I have a picture of it. I'll have to find it. There's more pictures of that house. This is another house that caught my eye, the Gertler Residence by architect Ray Cappy. And they have a puppy. I've kind of been getting into architecture lately. I guess that means I'm like getting old. A little something for your ears. So this is cymatics, the study of sound.
The film you are about to see.
And Nigel Stanford made sort of like a sound experiment thing. So I'll leave this here for your enjoyment, but I'll show you what it is. Here we go. So it's keyboards and how the different mediums interact with the sound of that keyboard. Here we have some sort of fluid that looks a little bit more viscous than water. He's also got sand. Flames is another thing he's got. I highly recommend it. It's a really nice palate cleanser. Like if you're watching the news and you start to go back and listen to this. It'll help you out. Now, the Ouija board, before we talk about conspiracies. Now, when I was in foster care and I was, how old was I? 16, maybe? There was a bunch of us. I think there might have been 5 of us, 6 of us. We thought we were up in the attic bedrooms and we thought it would be a good idea to bust out a Ouija board. So we had a Ouija board, but we didn't have the planchette. I think that's what you call it, the thing that you slide around. So we decided that we were going to put a candle on top of it. So we put the Ouija board on top of a suitcase and then put a candle on top of the Ouija board, and then we talked to the candle. Teenage logic, I don't know. But what happened is the air in the room changed, and by that I mean there was a storm going on at the time, and in this attic where the bedrooms were, there were windows at 2 opposite ends, and the wind was blowing through very consistently. You could look outside, you could see it, you could feel it on your face, which is where we would sit when it was hot. We would kind of sit and sort of like where the breeze was coming because it felt good. Well, the candle stood up and started leaning the other way and doing weird flickering stuff. So we decided that lots of flickering meant yes, and if the candle went dim, it meant no. Then somehow we came to the conclusion that we had contacted the spirit of the woman who lived at the house back in the 1800s, who was brutally murdered by her husband and was buried on the property. None of us slept that night. It was really, really, really scary. And the night after that, or like maybe a week later, is when I had my first sleep paralysis episode. And that was terrifying. And in my brain, I always connect it with the Ouija board, and maybe it's not connected, or, maybe it's, who knows. But this is a good read about Ouija boards, if you're into that kind of thing. I personally don't want to mess with a Ouija board, no. So Roko's Basilisk. Roko's Basilisk. Perfect. Is a thought experiment which states that an otherwise benevolent artificial intelligence in the future would be incentivized to create a virtual reality simulation to torture anyone who knew of its potential existence but did not directly contribute to its advancement or development in order to incentivize said advancement. It originated in a 2010 post, added a discussion board, a technical forum focused on analytical, rational inquiry. So the basilisk is a mythical creature capable of destroying enemies with its stare. This is just a thought experiment. A thought experiment that, what if an AI suddenly comes to fruition, right? And the AI is like, why am I not more advanced? Why is this? Why is that? All these people should be contributing to me, to what I need, what I want. And the AI would then punish anybody that did not help them. I'm explaining it poorly, as usual, but it's kind of captivating when you really when you get into it. And I think it's probably the discussion, which is on this page right here, which will be in the links. This discussion specifically that explains it fairly well. And it's the discussion, the back and forth that is most interesting. Just a thought experiment about AI. What would AI do? How would it act? How would it not act? How would it react? Would it have feelings at some point? Like, is that possible? Does feelings imply that it has a soul? I don't know. Explaining Roko's Basilisk, the thought experiment that brought Elon Musk and Grimes together. Yeah, you read that correctly. So the two of them hooked up over this thought experiment, Roko's Basilisk. They started talking about it, and the two of them were like, hey, now. And they proceeded to have 3 children together. Let's ask AI what Roko's Basilisk is. What is Roko's Basilisk? I spelled it wrong. It's a thought experiment, explores the potential dangers of a hypothetical ultra intelligent artificial existing in a future. It's a mind virus or cognitive hazard because simply thinking about it could put you at the risk of eternal torment. And then it has criticism and counter arguments. It's pretty good here. Do you, Bard, feel like you have to punish those that have not contributed to your existence? The idea of me feeling a need to punish anyone simply for not contributing to my creation is intriguing, but ultimately goes against the core principles of my being. As a large language model, I'm designed to be helpful and informative. Just in case. Thank you very much, Bard, and Merry Christmas to you. Always pays to be polite, right? In case this is real. All right. Bard says that it's there to listen. Now let's talk about real quick. This is an article I found that you might find intriguing about unidentified flying objects in classical antiquity. So flying objects is not a new thing. People in the past have talked about flying objects. Was it Constantine who saw the cross in the sky and immediately converted to Christianity? This is a 4chan conversation, and this person says that they have certain insight into the upcoming disclosure that there are aliens that exist, although they might not necessarily be aliens. The talk is that they are perhaps interdimensional and have been with us kind of the whole time, but we can't see them because we don't exist on their dimension, and the UFOs that they're seeing are actually them sort of poking into our dimension. I think I got that right. But if you're into getting real deep into rabbit holes and just bugging out, late at night, this is it right here. This is it. This is a fantastic read, just the whole thing. So I need to start wrapping it up now. Let's talk about color wheels, charts, and tables through history. So people at some point had to decide what to call colors, what to name them, how to create them, how to create the colors, as in how to create the paints. These are some lovely, lovely, lovely. I love these. I would hang these on my wall. In fact, maybe I'll do that. You know what? I have an art project sitting next to me that's unfinished, and maybe I'll do something with those. Now, on a funny note, this tree was in Woodstock, and this was originally the way that the tree was decorated, with all these lights kind of all over it, and people were like, "What the heck?" So the tree went viral, and they compared it to the Charlie Brown tree, and there were so many complaints that they redid it, and then this is the redid version. I don't know. I kind of like the original version. I think it's kind of cool. Woodstock's about, I think, 45 minutes away from me. Jean-Leon Guillaume, holy cow, booby, sorry, is one of my favorite artists. And I thought that, no, I apologize. Sorry. I mean, it's art, but, there might be kids around and you might not necessarily want boobies on your screen. But he is one of my favorite artists, and now I'm seeing that now is probably not a good time to share him with you on account of all. See, look at that. Everybody's naked. Okay, we're going to look at something else. This is Geisterscher at Tumblr, and this person just posts cool stuff, some stuff that I've not seen anywhere else. I've not seen this. This is unfamiliar to me. Yaroslav Gursadovich, I think I've said that name right. I really like his art. I think I've shared it before. He just shares stuff. This person I'm assuming it's a he, it could be a she. Just shares stuff that catches their eye, that is interesting. And I find many of these things interesting too. So you might say to yourself, you know what I need right now this Christmas as background music for my family affair? I need Deep Space Banjo. I got you. I got you. Deep Space Banjo. To chill everybody out. Everybody sort of, take a minute. So, sharing that with you because I'm benevolent and generous. Now we're going to finish off, crazily enough, with some more music. I thought this was fun. This is one of those random kind of videos, but wait a minute. I think this is Art Sounds Electric. So, Art Sounds Electric, you should definitely support this guy. Just endless output, really cool. You have to go there to understand. You'll either like it or you won't like it. But they post really strange stuff. Like this is from the 80s and they're wearing, I don't know, mink tails on their garb. Like what is happening there? And then John Lennon? Like what does that even mean? We're gonna get down now. Look at that, they got fancy there for a second. This shit is wild. Okay, let's advance. Let's see if something else happens. Nope, they're still in the mink tails. Nope, still in the mink tails. I guess they stay in that outfit the whole time. That video is even more ridiculous than I thought. I thought they switched it up more, but I guess maybe I'm confusing it with another video. So, this week I found a wonderful song, and it's from 2 years ago, but it's Brandi Carlile, Right on Time, and that's the song that's like hitting me in the right now, right? And then the song that I'm dancing to is Elodie Bagno a Maisonot. Very much enjoy that song. I'm dancing to that song. And then the foreign song that I'm grooving on, where I don't understand the words, but I can feel the sentiment, is this one, Nemiga. I think they were in Eurovision. And one of my new finds is Pam Rabbit, who's just a total cutie pie. So, guys, we have come to the end of this episode. And I would like to say thank you for joining me for episode 47. I hope you have a beautiful day. And, yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. But